All these guys, they all use basically discounted cash flow. I'm the guy that advises multi-billion-dollar funds. I'm the guy that predicted the financial crisis, and I'll get back to that here shortly. And if you don't know that about me, then you're just a putz. What the hell are you listening to me? If you're going to listen to anybody, the first thing you should do is find out about their credibility. I've got all the links on my site. I've got the links to the chapters in the financial crisis recommending shorting the subprimes, Fannie and Freddie, which nobody in the world did. The banks, nobody in the world did. All this stuff. I even predicted the Dow bottom 2 years before it happened in my book. I discussed the possibility of a Dow 6,500 in my 2006 book. Guess where it bottomed? March 10th, 2009. 6,500. Let me just educate you people. All these guys, see, the fraud, before the fraud was the transparency fraud. He's so transparent. That's all a scam. You can fake anything on YouTube. Meet Kevin has done all that garbage. Transparency scam. The next scam is kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to show you the valuation. Okay. Nobody I've seen on YouTube, not a single one of these hucksters knows how to even use discounted cash flows. I'm a world expert in valuation. And I'm telling you right now, nobody knows how to use it, number one. And I'm not even going to get into that too much. I will say this, though. First of all, you can't use that. If you find the suitable stocks to use that valuation methodology, you have to continuously update it. Continuously. Why? Because new data is coming on the table. First of all. Second of all, it's not applicable to any stocks that any of these fake gurus are talking about. Why? Discounted cash flow, and you hear Paul, I'm a value investor. Benjamin Graham, and you can't use traditional valuation methodology for tech stocks. It's impossible. When Benjamin Graham and Dodd were practicing value investing and teaching it, there was essentially no technology stocks. That was like in the 40s, 50s, 60s. There wasn't high tech. They were using things such as discounted cash flows, book value, looking at PE ratios, Gordon growth model, things of that nature. Okay? Write this down. Now, and you can ask anybody in the world, I don't care, your favorite fund manager you think is credible, or your favorite professor. And if they disagree with me, then we're going to have a debate. You cannot value intangible assets using discounted cash flow. Now think about it for a second. What percentage of, and I'm just going to name, the tech stocks. What percentage of revenues do you think comes from Tesla's, Tesla? What type of assets from Tesla? Intangible or tangible assets? How about Microsoft? How about Apple? The majority of the assets of these companies are intangible. How do you value those using discounted cash flow model? You can't do it. It's impossible. How do you value stocks? You don't focus on the numbers. I'll tell you that right now. My way, I think, is the way. My way enabled me to pick Netflix as a long-term winner in 2008. I put it in a book to short Blockbuster and buy Netflix because Blockbuster was going to go bankrupt. I made a case study. That's a case study in one of my books. Who's going to do that? So I know how to value stocks. The closest you're going to get to knowing how I do is my boot camps. I'm not going to disclose it. But I can tell you right now, you don't sit there and focus on stupid numbers. Sure, you got to look at numbers, but you don't focus on that. You look at certain things, high yield things. You don't do discounted cash flow. That's a fucking joke. Okay? That's a joke. That was more credible. I mean, I actually wrote about that many years, like 12, 13 years ago. It was more credible back then, but it was never credible to use exclusively. You can use it as a partial method. You think Wall Street analysts use discounted cash flow? They don't use that. I mean, think about it. You think these YouTube scammers are more credible than Wall Street analysts? And Wall Street analysts are pretty much a joke. But I'm qualified to say that. They're not. They're a billion times more credible Wall Street analysts are than these YouTube scammers. I can tell you that right now. They don't use discounted cash flow. That's fact. Now, do they discount cash flows expected to be made in the future to the present for certain things? Yes. But that's not their valuation model. Do any of these kids know that? No, they don't, because they're fucking clueless and never worked on Wall Street. Anybody who's using discounted cash flow or any form of that to value stocks is clueless. And that's why you look at Tom Nash. He's blown up. He's hidden the videos where he's recommended all this garbage. I've exposed a lot more of his videos. You can't use discounted cash flow to value companies where the majority of assets that generate the revenues are intangible assets. It's impossible. Do you understand traditional valuation methods look at tangible assets? They focus on tangible assets. Do you know that? Tell me how you're going to value a patent using discounted cash flow. You can't just say, well, it's generating this cash flow, it's expected to. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? Doesn't work that way.